guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would talk about why I don't recommend staying off Disney property. Now this is obviously something that is subjective. I mean, it's not, what you decide to do is entirely subjective, but the reasons, I think most of them that I'm gonna state are fact. And a lot of people who have never been to Disney before or who have never stayed on property or off property don't know these differences. So I thought they might help you out. Okay, I'm shaking the camera. There are a number of reasons actually why I never recommend to anybody to stay off Disney property. And let's start with making dining reservations. Now, if you are traveling and you are staying on property, 180 days prior to the start of your trip, you are able to make dining reservations for your entire trip, providing it's not a really, really long trip. But if you're going for like a week, the 180 days from your check-in day, you can actually make dining reservations for your entire trip. Now, if you're staying off property, you can make dining reservations 180 days in advance, not from the start of your trip, but 6 months from that day. So for example, if I leave for my trip today and I'm staying on property and did I say today? If I leave for my trip 6 months from today and I'm staying on property for a week, today I can make my dining reservations for my entire trip. Now, if I am leaving or if I'm going to the parks 6 months from today and I'm going for a week and I'm staying off property, I can only make the dining reservations for the first day because tomorrow is 181 days. So you can't make it for your entire trip. Hopefully that makes sense. I think I made that a little more complicated than it needed to be. But yes, so that's dining. And the second thing then is fast passes. Now, this is probably the biggest or one of the biggest reasons for me. If you are staying on property, you can make your fast pass reservations 60 days in advance. Again, for your entire trip. If you are staying off property and you want to make fast pass reservations, you have to buy your tickets in advance and you can still only make them 30 days in advance. So by that point, the best stuff is going to be gone. So that's a really, really big thing for me. Now, if you move on to actually the time of your trip, if you're staying off property, you do not automatically get magic bands. You can purchase them online and then link them, but you do not automatically get them for free like you do if you're staying on property. You do not get Magical Express transportation to your airport, from the airport to your hotel. That is only provided to guests staying on Disney property. In terms of transportation to the parks, either you're driving to the parks every day, if you rented a car or you drove yourself, you're driving to the parks every day and you are having to pay for parking every day, which parking is free if you are staying on property. Or if you are relying on your off-property hotel transportation, I have read a lot of very negative things about this. A lot of hotels will say, oh, we have transportation to the Disney parks, but a lot of times it's only once or twice a day. And it's really not ideal. And that takes a very long time in terms of waiting in like the lines of cars when the parks are about to open. That takes a long time to get on property. So it's just a lot of time wasted that you could have spent actually at the parks. Another thing is extra magic hours. If you are staying on property, you can take advantage of extra magic hours. If you're staying off property, you cannot. They check your magic bands because, like I said, even if you're staying off property, you can still purchase a magic band. They check them to make sure you have a hotel reservation. So only on-site guests are able to take advantage of extra magic hours, morning or evening. And like I mentioned many times, we always do morning, I say that, we almost always do morning extra magic hours, and we accomplish a lot in that time because a lot of people are still sleeping then and people can't get to, off-property guests can't get to the parks at that time yet. So in that first hour, we actually really do accomplish a lot. And since we usually go in summer, it's really nice to go early in the morning too because it's cooler then. So yes, if you're staying off property, you also cannot take advantage of extra magic hours. Now, something else that we always do when we are staying on property is go back to the hotel in the afternoon for a swim and a rest and just to, take a little nap, because like I said, we are up for morning extra magic hours, and that means that morning extra magic hours start at 8. So we are up pretty early, and it's a lot of walking, and it's just very tiring. So we really like to take a nap, and that is just something that, given the amount of time it takes, is not realistically feasible if you are staying off-site because of how long it takes to get on property and to leave and such with traffic. So yeah, that is something that we always do. And if you're staying on property, even if you have base tickets, you can return to the same park later in the day. You just can't return to a different park, but you're still able to go back to the hotel in the afternoon to swim, take a nap, rest, that kind of thing. Another thing, and it's a small thing, but is that you can have your packages delivered from the parks, to have your purchases delivered from the parks to your resort hotel on site. That's another thing that is not possible if you are staying off-site. Last but not least, if you are staying off-site, you cannot purchase a dining plan that is only for on-site guests. So if you're interested in a dining plan, it is not possible for you to get one if you are staying off-site. So like you can see, there's a lot of reasons that I have for staying on property. Really the biggest thing for me though is I like to be completely immersed in the magic all the time. It is like you're in a completely different world, and you do not have that experience when you are driving off-site to go back to your hotel every day. That's really why Walt Disney World is so big and it's so secluded from the rest of the outside world, because they didn't have that at Disneyland, and Walt Disney really did not like that. How all these other cheaper hotels sprang up around it, and you can just see the rest of the world, and that's really not the idea that he had. He wanted you to be able to be in this entire Disney world where you completely forget about the world around you, and that really is not possible if you are staying off-site. I think you just get so much of a better experience if you're staying on-site. So those are my reasons, and those are the facts I have, that the difference is if you stay on-site versus off-site. So I hope you guys found this helpful, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.